Hi, everybody. Welcome to Spiritual Discoveries with Angie and Friends. My name is Angie Abt. I'm a registered Lily Dale medium, and I'm here today with my friend Nancy Lombardo, and Don Scott will be on pretty soon, too. So, hi, Nancy.
Hi, Angie. Thanks for having me.
How are you? I'm happy to have you. Okay,
I'm
I'm going
good.
to go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just said I'm good.
Okay, good. I'm getting us on Blog Talk, everybody. Just hang on a second, and then we're going to have a great interview with Nancy. We're going to talk about all kinds of things. Lily Dale.
And you are one of our newer residents here in Lilydale.
All right, everybody. Welcome again. My name is Angie Abt. Welcome to Spiritual Discoveries with Angie and Friends. And I'm here today with my friend Nancy Lombardo. And we invite you to come on. Nancy, if you go on comments in your upper right, you can see comments if people want to write in and ask us questions. We'd love to. And we love to have you say hi to us and let us know where you're from, too. So welcome, Nancy.
Thank you. That's very cool. I like to see the comments.
I know. Me too. Me too. So how are things in Lilydale today?
Lilydale, well, it's good today because the sun's out. And as you know, every time the sun comes out, that's a good day in Lilydale.
That's
So
a good day in Lilydale, that's for sure. You never know, right?
never
Especially
know. We
here.
had a heck of a winter and we actually had a frost like yesterday. So in May. So,
Oh, did we what? Really?
yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
I did not know that. Wow. Well, you never know. We're in Western New York. You never know how things are going to be, right?
You don't. But we're
What?
gearing up for season.
Yeah, for sure. I know. There's so many things happening, like everything's getting spruced up, right? How does it look?
It's looking really, really nice. I mean, you walk around and people's yards are just all the ornaments are coming out and their flowers are coming up and every people don't know this, but in the wintertime all of the residents put all their stuff away, and then in the springtime we bring it all out, and it's just starting to look very beautiful here, very beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. You know what I always think about Lilydale? I've thought this for years because I've been coming to Lilydale since my 20s, is the flowers grow the best in Lilydale.
They say that. They say that for sure. And they seem to come up early, and everything looks so very green here. Just really, really lush green.
Yeah. And I always thought like rhododendrons and hydrangeas are huge. I've never seen a rhododendron bush as big as I've seen in Lilydale. You
And
do?
that's the truth. Yeah, and the hydrangeas, like you said, they're everywhere. They grow
Yeah.
everywhere. So it's really cool. And I
Yeah.
think people really love walking up and down looking at all that for sure.
Yeah. Now you're a year-round resident in Lilydale, right?
I am a year-round resident, one of the far the few, the in between.
Oh, I know, I know. Well, people ask that all the time. Like, do people live there year round? And a lot of people come for season and go back, but there are some that stay.
Yeah, there's about probably a third of us, I would say, that stay here year round. It kind of turns into a little ghost town. Forgive the pun, but
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's nice. It's quiet, and we really enjoy it. And I think we hold the energy in the space of Lilydale until the season starts again.
I think so. I think so too. And it's so peaceful all year round there, right? So that's got to be nice to live there and be able to feel that peace.
I was just having a conversation with somebody the other day about visitors that come into Lilydale, and especially the ones that have never been here before, and they come into the gate and they don't understand what they feel. They know they feel a difference and a shift, but they just don't understand what it is they feel. But what they feel, they like.
Yeah,
They really like it. They like the way it makes them feel, but it's just 100 and what 45 years of all of us holding this energy in this space and of healing, and it's undeniable. It's
yeah.
undeniable.
I agree with you. I remember coming there my first time too, and I've heard people say it too, that you walk in and you feel something, and you know that as you're there, you start to feel more centered and feel more peaceful. And I remember like I used to come years ago, and I'd want to try to get answers in my life about something. I'd be going through one of those, what do I do next? I don't know what to do. So I'd go to Lilydale by myself, and just kind of hang out and notice who I had a conversation with, and I always felt centered, peaceful, and got my answers. You too?
That's a really good point. It's a good time for thought and for answers. I like that. Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah. So everybody, so I wanted to, I was talking to you so we give people a chance to come on, but I want to tell everybody a little bit about Nancy. So I won't read your whole bio. I'll just read parts of it. So yeah, so I know, so Nancy served in the Army as a military police officer, and then to civilian law enforcement, where she served on the Lawton, Oklahoma Police Department. Nancy retired as a detective, and I believe after that is kind of when you came to Lilydale, right?
Yeah, yes. My career was in Oklahoma, and my family was here in Western New York. So I was gone for 35 years. I came back, and honestly, my intent was not to ever live in Lilydale. My intent was to live on Lake Erie. By chance, after taking some of Judith Rochester's mediumship classes and coming into Lilydale and learning about Lilydale, I remember driving out of here one day saying, I'm moving to Lilydale. And it happened just that quickly. As you know, and we tell people this all the time, people don't move to Lilydale, Lilydale calls you.
Oh, it does. Oh my gosh, that's so true. And even when you say this too, the houses call you. Did you feel like your house
Yeah.
called
Oh,
you?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
My house, the reason why I'd like this house every time I walked by it. I liked it. I'm very lucky, and I have a separate, a double yard on mine and a driveway,
Your
which,
yard is
which is
gorgeous.
a blessing. But when I bought this house and came in, the furniture that was in the room was some of the same furniture my parents had when I grew up. And I thought that was a clear sign that this was meant to be my house for
I
sure.
would say so. I would say so for sure. You know what? I remember people telling me that too, like the houses call you, and I thought, what does that mean exactly? And because I have a house too, and I kept looking and looking, and nothing was working out. And then finally, the house that I'm in, it did call to me, and I walked in and felt the same way. I sat down and didn't want to leave, and that was a pretty big sign to me. But there's something about it, and then it falls in place, and you are where you're meant to be, right?
Exactly. And I love your house. I
Thank
love your house. It's just adorable.
I know, I love it too. I love yours too. I love Nancy and I live right down the street from
Yeah.
each other, which is really exciting. Yeah.
Well,
So how did you get into law enforcement? I want to hear a little bit about that because I know you've done some amazing work and you've made a difference.
oh, thank you. Um, Law enforcement was something that I wanted to be when I was in junior high school. Uh, it just it caught my interest. I wanted to help people, and I guess you don't think of being a police officer, but we do help people. That's our number one thing, is to help people.
Yeah.
I wanted to do something that a lot of females weren't doing at the time, and they certainly were not at the time,
Mhm.
especially in the military. It was just a calling. It was a calling. I loved it. I worked 28 and a half years in my career, which is a long time for a female, in all honesty. But I miss it. You
You
know,
do.
there's not one day I ever regret saying, I didn't like being a police officer. I loved being a police officer.
You
Loved
did.
it.
I can always tell because you post things like about the people the your crew. I don't know what you call it, the crew or the people you worked with. And actually, what I really wanted to say is, it seems like you guys were like family.
We're totally family, and they're still my family. And actually, on Sunday, I'm going back to Oklahoma for a week, because it's such a sense of home for me. I always tell people I have two homes. My home family there and my spiritual family here. But I definitely have two different lives of two different groups of people, and it all works together.
Yeah, that's awesome that that's like that because you've been retired for how long now?
6 years now.
And you're all still that close and that bonded.
Yeah, but I'm also involved in an organization called Copline. So
Okay.
I keep my foot in the door as a retired police officer and work with that organization as a volunteer. So still stay part of that in me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you do like I know like from that now that you're in Lilydale, you teach a lot of classes too.
Yes, I like to try to intertwine my law enforcement work with my spirituality, somehow, some way, and I think it works. I've taught at your Santosha, and uh, I think it works.
I think it works too. Like you had the class on suicide, and then you had there's the other critical. I'm trying to find the name of it. I have it all written down here. Critical and responding to critical incidents. Talk about that one a little bit because I think that's an important one. Yeah, for everybody to kind of know what to do, but even mediums too. Really, like in our work when you're dealing with somebody that's gone through something, right?
I came up with the concept of that. Any kind of critical incident, like if you find out a friend husband has died in a car accident and you're like, what am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah,
Most people just don't understand how to handle a situation, how to go to a person, how to talk to a person about that scenario, how to be supportive. And as a police officer, we responded all the time to unknown circumstances, unknown situations, and you had to know how to act at the moment spontaneously. And so I was trying to teach what to do, how to say, how to not be afraid of the scenario.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
most people act by not acting because they're afraid and they don't know what to say.
Yeah, they don't know what to say, or they're afraid they're going to say the wrong thing. They're not going to say the right thing, things like that. So is that what? Because you're teaching that workshop coming up at Fellowships of the Spirit, right?
Teaching both of them. As you know, the suicide workshop is definitely a passion of mine. I
Yes.
sadly saw so many suicides and responded to so many as my in my law enforcement career. And I really like to get the word out about suicide also because it's one of those words that you even say it and people like cringe. It's like, we're supposed to talk about that, or what am I supposed to say about that?
Yeah.
Um, I don't want it to feel natural, but I want people to feel comfortable with it and comfortable to be able to talk with it because it is still right now an epidemic. It's an epidemic
Yeah.
worldwide.
Yeah. Would you say even more so with the pandemic?
Oh, absolutely. The numbers prove you can go and Google that right now, and they'll tell you that the
Yeah.
isolation that people couldn't handle it.
Yeah. And I agree because I remember feeling like it was difficult to get through as well. And probably if you were already fighting depression or fighting something, it's even harder,
You're
right?
exactly right. You're exactly right. So it's still a very important topic, and it's something I'm passionate about talking about.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on both things, and I'm so happy that you're teaching those classes at fellowships. Everybody, I just put up fellowships website, and if you go on their website, you can take a look at Nancy's got. I can't remember. I think it's like I didn't write those two
Yeah, it's
classes
in September. Yeah,
in September. I think those are. Yeah, and you're you're teaching also because yoga. I know yoga is huge for you.
it is.
So yeah, talk about yoga. How did you get into yoga and
I got into yoga actually when I was a detective because my caseload was crazy. It was just overwhelming. And there came a point where I just felt like I couldn't breathe. And I was doing Pilates, which is a more strenuous form of yoga, if you want to call it that.
yeah,
And someone said, well, why don't you try yoga? And I thought, well, I can't do yoga.
yeah.
I'm not bendy. And my first thought was people going upside down and backwards. And
I
so
know, I
do
know.
yoga.
Animals, dogs, all that stuff, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So one day I went in and I tried it. And she had started off with a little meditation and we did movement and breath and ended with a meditation. I remember walking out just feeling good
mhm,
and feeling relaxed. And I thought, I like this.
yeah,
So I kept going back. However, when I moved here to Western New York, the kind of yoga, I had a wonderful yoga instructor in Oklahoma, and I loved her style of teaching. And I
yeah,
couldn't find that style. I just couldn't find that style here. I couldn't find maybe the spiritual aspect of it that I was looking for.
yeah.
So I went to Pittsburgh and I certified as a yoga instructor so I could teach the type of yoga I wanted to learn.
Really? So that's why you did it? Because
That's why I did it.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. You know what? I've done that too, where I've taught a class because I can't find it the way I want it, so I teach it myself. I know what you mean. That's awesome that you did that. So what do you mean? Like, because the yoga you're doing is called.
It's a vinyasa.
Gentle yoga and meditation, right? Yeah.
Well, I say I like to create an atmosphere, number one. I put my yoga to music. Some people do not use music. Music creates an atmosphere, and I use specific music. I get a lot of people coming in on my playlist. So it starts off with the music. I also do very slow movements, but it's flowing. It's always flowing. It's always moving from one posture to another. And I end with a meditation. And we do a lot of breath work. I tell people I just lead you through the practice. It's your individual yoga practice. I don't care if you want to come in and sit on a chair and just sit there, and enjoy the practice because it's your practice. I just guide you.
Yeah. You could even like, couldn't you even do, I remember going to a yoga class and she said, if you can't do the move, sit down and then visualize yourself doing the move and you'll get something out of it that way. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. And the meditation piece is so darn important too.
it's so important. And it's very interesting to me. I teach a class down in Fredonia, and I have a pretty good following of people that originally could not even sit still for a minute, because it's learned behavior, as you know.
Yeah.
It's people just can't automatically start meditating. They're fidgety and they can't sit still and they can't stop their mind. But to be able to train people, so to say, to be able to find that stillness and find that contentment within themselves is a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And isn't there something too about when you start doing yoga and you're, you're in those positions. I actually haven't done it in a while, and I'll tell you in a minute why. But the energy when you're in that, the energy starts to flow through your body and you start to feel better, and it kind of puts you in a state to have a better meditation, correct?
Not only that, but when I'm leading people to breathe together and our breath is all together, the energy does start building and the unity starts building, and it's just undeniable. It's undeniable.
Yeah, and something also too about meditating when you're in a group of people, that the energy is always pretty amazing with that as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then yoga becomes like a way of life because you're able to find a calmness within yourself. And
Hmm.
you're able to find that throughout the day, when chaos is in your life, you can reach into the practices and remember how that was and how that felt and bring it into your life at that exact moment of chaos. And
Yeah.
and you're like, wow. And most yogis, you can see, oh, you do yoga. I mean, there's just a sense about you that you can see that in somebody else.
Yeah, and also yoga and meditation too. You can always tell.
Absolutely.
Like, look, I remember coming to fellowships, and that was one of the things that they had us do. One of the most important things was meditation. And I remember like everybody seemed so peaceful, and I thought, I want to be that same way. And I didn't know if I could be, but I started meditating. I felt like I was too.
Because you are high energy.
I have high energy. Yes, yes. I'm one of those people that it's like, how do I stop my thoughts? And I start meditating and I think about everything I have to do, you know.
Yeah,
But I know it's important though, because it's like you said, you walk around in your life so much more calm. I worked at a car dealership in customer service,
sure. Yeah.
and yeah, got yelled at every day, and about which you can't blame people, right, if something goes wrong with their car. But when I went to fellowships and learned how to meditate, it's like I could just sit and listen to it, and I didn't take it in. I would just kind of be there, kind of holding the energy for people and helping them, and not letting it wreck my day, right?
Right. Yeah, totally. That's funny. A car dealership, and here you are, registered medium. Talk about different lives.
I know, I know. I remember thinking I loved the job. You never know where something's going to lead you, because I went and worked at that job, and I was never a public speaker or never somebody that would sit in a circle and teach a class. And when I got the job, I was customer relations manager, and the boss said, you're gonna have to have circles and teach people about customer service, and you're gonna have to get up in front of 150 people and speak. And I think I said, then I think maybe I need to go back to my other job, but I didn't though. And he taught me how to do all that stuff, which is all things I do now. So you never know, right?
Never know at all.
Yeah.
And one thing I'm excited too about teaching over at Fellowship this summer is the water, because the water itself brings just a whole different energy to the whole scenario. And I was telling you, I'm hoping that if the weather's good, we'll be out on the deck. I don't think the traffic going up and down Dale Drive will bother us because
Uh-uh.
we'll be in our own zone.
Yeah.
But if it's not, we'll be inside, but you still have a clear view of that beautiful Casadega Lake.
That lake is gorgeous. And you talk about the energy and the peace you feel that comes off. That is amazing too. So, can anybody take this class?
Absolutely. It's any level. Anybody can come. Like I said, it's your level, and you do what you can do. I do have it. I don't put a lot of crazy advanced movements in it. I try to keep it gentle. I try to keep it basic.
Mm-hmm.
Basic moves, because you're always having people dropping in each week that are different.
Yeah.
So, but it's all about just our combined energy and combining and awakening our mind, body, and spirits.
So do people have to bring mats?
I have mats. I'll have a whole thing of mats I can bring.
Okay.
Sometimes people are more comfortable bringing their own mats for sure.
Mhm.
Blocks. Sometimes people like blocks. I like to work with blocks. I like to sit on a block. Sometimes you can have blocks if you can't get to the ground. You put those blocks and they help you so you don't have this far to go. So that might be something you might want to bring. I do not have blocks, but I will
Okay.
have mats.
Okay. Hey, oh, here we go. I was just going to say, Karen just came on. Thanks, Karen. And this is, and there's that beautiful view of the lake.
Yeah, that's so pretty. I love that. I actually took a picture of that the other day. I was running on Dale Drive, and the sunset was coming down. I caught a really pretty picture.
It's
Going
gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Yeah, just to feel that. And that's Nancy there too.
Yeah, that's me at Lake Erie. I'm always doing my planks.
Yes, yeah, you do that. Wow. So everybody, that's the view that if you come and you take yoga on Tuesday evenings at fellowships from 5:30 to 6:15, starting June 13th to August 29th, and Nancy's going to take you, if the weather's good, we'll be out on the porch doing yoga.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's exciting. So, you know what? I wanted to ask you about a little bit about this too. So you're also you run Church of the Living Spirit. You're the pastor.
I do. For people that don't, there's 4 different spiritualist churches here in Lilydale, with Fellowship being one, Church of Living Spirit, the National, and City of Light. And yes, I'm the president of Church of Living Spirit here in
Okay.
Lilydale.
Yeah, and that's an amazing. I love going to that. It's an amazing church.
Thank you, thank you. We've been at the Assembly Hall for 35 years now, I think, going on. So I always say that we're the keepers of the Assembly Hall. And if people have never been inside the Assembly Hall, it is surrounded with all of our pioneers of spiritualism. Dates back to the 1800s. Some of those pictures are priceless. They have little scenarios of how these people influenced. Yeah, thank you.
Karen, yeah, put that back. That's why it's good to have Karen.
And it is now on the historical places in Western New York. It's on the National Registry also.
Oh, the Assembly Hall is? That's
Yes,
awesome.
yes.
Yeah. They teach, so you have church there. There's also classes offered there throughout the summertime, I think, right?
No. It gets turned over to Lilydale, and then Lilydale will have their workshops there. So there's many workshops that will be at the Assembly Hall this summer. So you guys will get to see the Assembly Hall if you come in and take a workshop.
Definitely. And definitely walk around, like Nancy said, all the pioneers of spiritualism. I love those pictures.
Sometimes people will say that as they're walking the streets of Lilydale, they feel the people actually walking the streets of Lilydale. And sometimes they feel that because they always ask why our roads are so narrow. It's because of the horse and buggies. They're the same length of the original horse and buggy days. They have not widened our streets. And they sometimes feel that they can sense the horse and the buggies and the people walking up and down the streets also.
I would say I've sensed that before. Have you?
I have. I really have. Yeah, so it's really cool.
Yeah, I know one time Karen and I were doing a golf cart interview thing or something in Lilydale, and we went to the pet cemetery. And when we got done, people kept saying that they could hear a horse clip clopping behind the cart, and we didn't hear it. But then later in the recording, we did. So there's confirmation that that's true.
Well, speaking of the pet cemetery, Joanne and Mike Nigro, of course, have been taking care of that for years. And when I moved here, that was one of the things I actually helped them with, and we had a couple other people, and the pet cemetery is all set up for the season. So we brought out all the little tchotchkes and the little beautiful animals,
Oh, nice.
all
Nice.
ready for people. If you're here now while the gate's still open, you feel free to walk through the pet cemetery. And
Yeah, and so people don't know that you don't you can come to Lilydale all year round, not just in the summer. You can during the summer there's activities like the stump services and things like that, but you can come anytime and just walk around and go to the pet cemetery or walk out to the stump or what have you.
And
Yeah.
we have a lot of people always asking that question. You're right. Are you open? Yeah, we're open year round. We're open year round.
Yeah, and you want to go even in the winter. You know, I went last winter and brought my grandkids down, and they trudged through the snow. They loved it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why don't you come out in the winter I remember one time walking down to the stump and the snow was literally up to my knees. Talk about exercising.
Yeah, 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 but it's fun. It was fun though too,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
but you're right though. Snow up to your knees is definitely exercise for
yeah.
sure. So,
Mhm.
yeah, well, Nancy, I want to thank you so much for coming on. Karen,
Thank
could
you
you
for
put that?
having me.
Yeah, thank you. Could you put that graphic up one more time because I want people to see it because Nancy's a great teacher,
Oh, you're very
great. Yeah, and she's a great yoga teacher, and what an awesome thing. I love this weeknights at the lake, you know, and to get to come down and do yoga on the water, looking at that view is pretty amazing with an amazing teacher.
Yeah, come on down. I'd love to meet everybody. And like I said, come one time, come the whole summer. We'd love it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste to you too. And don't leave everybody because I have another guest. You saw Don Scott, and I'm going to bring Don on now.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, thank you. Thank you, Nancy. Oh, okay. Let's see. How do I do this, Karen? Okay, here we go. Okay. Hi, Don.
Hi, Ange. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Excellent, thank you.
So, everybody, this is Don Scott. We've known each other for, I don't know, probably 20 or 25 years.
Yeah,
A long time, right?
a long time.
Yeah. And Don's a graduate of Fellowships of the Spirit. And when did you graduate?
2000,
What was it, 2000?
I think so.
I think
2000 or 2001.
Yeah, like right before me. I think I was like 2002. I'm pretty sure. Didn't you go and kind of like how Nancy was talking about never intending to live in Lilydale, then you're kind of drawn. And I kind of remember the story that you were drawn to the school, but you really didn't go to fellowship school. You sat on the porch for a year.
Yeah, I sat on the porch for a couple of years before I actually took the course.
Yeah, and that yeah, and kind of thinking you would never do it, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And then you did, and then you kind of and not only did you take the course, you started teaching.
Yes. And much like you were saying, when I started sitting on the porch, I didn't even talk to people. I I sat on the porch because I didn't want to be in a room with that many people. So yeah, it was a big shift to go from not wanting to even be in a room with people to being in the front of the room full of people.
I know what you mean because I remember the first time I had to do that too, and it is a big shift. It's scary, but
Yeah.
a good thing. 'Cause you're a good teacher.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So from there, then I remember. I think when we started to get to when I got to know you better was you were also then starting to do. You went from fellowships to massage.
Yeah, in between there, I went to yoga. Yeah, because the first time I was ever exposed to yoga that I ever took a yoga class was at fellowships, through the
Oh,
monkey
awesome.
class. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
and then I ended up actually teaching the yoga portion of the monkey class,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and because I had gone, because that was another thing that I never intended to be a yoga teacher, instructor, and somehow that happened too.
I know that's sort of how it is. Actually, now that you mention that, the first time I ever took a yoga class was you when Don is talking about monkey. That's it's called 100th Monkey Class, which is a deep meditation and more class taught by Mark Thomas. But yoga is part of that, and that was the first time I ever took a yoga class. Was you teaching it?
Yeah, in fact, I remember thinking that I did a terrible job, and then you and some other people told me that it wasn't that bad.
Really? Were we the first time you taught it?
For yes.
Yeah, I was, and we were just talking to Nancy about yoga that I was amazed at how it made me feel.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you also do too. I should have had you and Nancy on it together, but you also do breath work. Didn't you get certified in some kind of breath work thing too?
Breathology. Yeah, I went over to Denmark and studied with Stig Simonsen,
Mhm.
who's four-time world champion, free dive champion.
Mhm.
And he also holds the record for holding your breath, which is like, I think he did over 22 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. Seriously?
yeah,
How,
seriously.
how do you do that? Is that just like being focused or something or?
It does. He can also, like, I've seen him get hooked up with electrodes and they say, okay, do it now. And he can take his heart rate and change it just
Really?
with his mind. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And you saw him do that for a long time?
I saw him do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I went over and studied with him. I was only with him for a couple of weeks. Um, but yeah, and there's a lot of benefits to holding your breath actually,
Is
because
there?
it's actually not the lack of oxygen that makes you want to breathe. It's actually the buildup of CO2. So when you practice holding your breath, you're actually getting conditioned to being comfortable with a raised, elevated level of CO2. So, and when you start to stress, your CO2 goes up. So you get comfortable with it. So that helps you fight stress.
Really?
Yeah, be more comfortable with stress. He trains fighter pilots, he trains Navy SEALs, he trains a lot of high stress people.
Really? And
Yeah.
a lot of it is based on, well, I know that that's true just when I do the abdominal breathing and hold my breath for 5 seconds and then release it, which actually I learned all that from you as well. But I mean I can tell my body starts to relax.
Yeah. Yeah. And because actually the inhalation is actually the shortest period of your respiratory cycle. There's actually a pause after you inhale, and then there's the exhale, and then there's a pause after you exhale. Um, so one of the exercises is to get your exhale to be twice as long as your inhale. Well, actually, when we start with people, we actually start them to get your exhale at least equal to your inhale, because a lot of people breathe so shallow that that relationship isn't there.
Yeah, yeah, you're right about that. And I remember going to a class one time and they talked about like watch a baby breathe and babies breathe proper. That that it takes them longer to inhale and exhale than us.
Yeah. You watch their belly, their belly's going up and down and because they're not stressed yet.
Yeah, and they're breathing into, because isn't that true too? That when you're stressed, you're breathing up here, and when you want to relax, you breathe into your belly.
Yeah, the deep breathing is more relaxing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Breathe
So
in.
yeah, for sure. So Don, so then like from that, well, this I don't even know when this was, but I know Robert Pang came to fellowships, and you started learning Qigong.
Yeah, that changed my world. Yeah, Robert came, I think that was like 2006 or something, somewhere around there. So I started studying Qigong and doing my Qigong and living Qigong. And fortunately, I got to take all his classes because I was on staff and doing the video. And
Yeah.
um, so, yes, Qigong, it was like taking yoga to another whole level energetically for me.
Mhm.
Because it also uses breathing techniques and it uses movement and meditation. Um, and it's like all that on steroids. It's just takes it to another whole level for me. And the healing work, um, the healing techniques. That's how I ended up getting into massage, because the healing techniques, everything in Qigong is yin and yang,
Mhm.
and with the yang is the tissues, and so you manipulate the tissues, and then the yin is to work with the energy.
Oh,
And even though I had been doing energy work a long time before I started, I technically in New York State, to do any manipulation of the tissues, you have to have a massage license.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I just won't manipulate the tissues. I'll just do it energetically. And then I went to a training and did the whole manipulating, and it made made the difference between being able to just take your hand and scan a body and go, oh, there's a blockage there, and be able to say, oh, there's a blockage there, and I can wrap my hand right around it. So it just made everything. So
You could say you could kind of go to another level with it then.
right, it just took everything to a whole nother level for me. So I went and got my massage license.
Yeah.
And that's when I got my massage license.
Yeah. So go back to Qigong. What is Qigong? What does that mean for people? Because Don's teaching a couple of Qigong classes that we want to tell you about as well. But so talk about, what is Qigong?
Well, Qi is life force. Qi is the life force. It's in everything. And Gong is the study of. So Qigong is the practice of cultivating and refining your Qi.
Okay.
And it's done with movement, because you have three major energy centers. The lower dantian, then they're called dantians. Your lower dantian is your vitality, it's your dynamic energy. And your middle dantian is your heart, is your humanity, your compassion. And your upper dantian is your guidance, your wisdom, your GPS. And then you also have your central channel, which helps with harmonizing and getting them working together.
Okay. And those dantians are right on our bodies, right?
Yeah, and they're on your body. Like the lower dantian is in yoga, it would be your hara. It would be 2 thumb widths below your navel, and they're energetic. They're physical and energetic. And the middle one is your heart center, and the upper one is your third eye.
Okay. And so when you're doing the movements or you're doing things with Qigong, you're kind of lining those up or opening those. I remember taking it with you and you opened up the dantians.
Yes, your limbs and your senses are like extensions of those. So when you're moving with your limbs, you're working with your dantians. And then there's also the central channel, which is harmonizing them. So the different movements are working on different aspects of those.
Yeah. And I remember like taking those movements that I learned some from Robert and mostly learned it from you. It's fun too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the sacred doesn't have to be serious. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And anybody can do it. It's jumping around. It's swinging your arms like you're on a swing set.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of. And Nancy talked about using music. We have played around with some pretty wild music while doing Qigong.
Oh, have you? Okay, so we get to have music, and that's fun. So yeah, and I love that. That's 4 golden wheels, I think, right, where you do that swing set.
Right.
Love
Right.
that one. Yeah, and it's not like even like for me, I had surgery on my back a year ago, and I can still do Qigong. I can bounce around, and I know that for me when I do it, sometimes like if I feel like I'm not balanced or I feel like I just can't get centered because I've been doing too much, I'll do 4 golden wheels and it makes a difference.
Oh yeah, it makes a big difference. And we've had clients that come in and they can do what they can do sitting in a chair. If you have to sit in a chair, just do the movements the best you can in a chair.
Yeah, that's the same as Nancy was saying, the same thing, right? Do what you want to do, and you get the benefit, I think, just by being in the energy, or you can visualize, right?
Yes. Just being in the energy, visualizing, and your intent. And the whole we have a little game we play with visualization to help hammer that home too. Yeah.
Oh, you do?
You can do amazing things with your mind and visualizing.
Yeah. And Don too, you were talking about energy healing a little bit. And I know like you're a fantastic, excellent healer. I've been lucky like many times where I think Don Scott and I opened Santosha together and well along with Karen Getter. And that was back, I don't know, like 8, 9 years ago or so, right? 8 years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
Pretty
Maybe
long
10
time.
already.
So yeah, I know it's been a long time, but I remember like a couple times that I came into Santosha and I said, the doctor says I have this. You need to fix me. Remember, you and Karen and him and Karen would work on me, and I'd go back to the doctor. The doctor would say, yeah, no, I guess you don't need that procedure. Pretty cool. Talk
Mhm.
about that. So talk about energy healing and what you do, because you offer sessions to somebody still too, right?
Yeah, in fact, when we talk about the Thursday nights that I'm coming down,
Mhm.
I'm also going to be taking appointments for private sessions those days.
Mhm.
So people can sign up and get a private qigong session, healing session, the days that I'm down there.
Okay, cool. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
So we'll talk about here we go. There it is. So Qigong, Cultivate and Refine Your Life Force begins June 8th, another weeknights at the lake. Thursday evenings from 7 to 8 p.m. And there's, I think, four dates for that.
yes.
So what will, so what will those classes be like? Talk about the classes.
They will be like we just discussed the movements, the four golden wheels with a lot of other stuff thrown in, and some meditation and like self massage, because there's the points on your body, like longevity points. Learn the
Mhm.
longevity points and do some tapping, so meditation, movement, some breathing. Um,
Yeah.
and inevitably, I'll get onto a tangent and end up throwing stuff in for as far as like what the dantians are and what they're good for, and maybe even play with some energy. Um, so yeah, they'll be fun.
So you learn some things. I remember I forgot about the self massage. I need to come and take the class, but I remember you had us even like massage our ears. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, yeah. Get a full body massage just through your ears. Yeah,
Oh, you can. Why? Because that's where like energy points are.
because there's acupuncture points and meridians on your ears, so you're actually hitting your whole body just by rubbing your ears.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that part of it. I just knew that when we did that, it felt really good.
Yeah,
Don, I always remember this. Okay, and this might even be like when you're talking about the guy with the breathing that could hold his breath for 22 minutes. And I remember one time we were in a 100th monkey class, and Mark Thomas told you you stood in the middle. You probably remember this. And he told you to get yourself real grounded and get yourself like where where you couldn't be moved. And then I think him and another guy tried to pick you up, and no matter what they did, they couldn't.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Just anchor yourself to the ground, and yeah, you can't be moved.
that's kind of what you did with that, and that's through breath, right?
Yeah, breath and just moving energy. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know. That was amazing. So, okay, so you have the Thursday night classes, and then you're also teaching a workshop in July too.
Yes, it's on July 15th. And what are we calling it? Life Force Healing?
Yeah, I think I have it right. Yes.
Yes, Life Force Healing, I think.
Yes.
It's
Qigong, life force healing. Yep.
yeah, yeah. So it's gonna be a lot of what it's like we will touch on it on Thursday nights, but then during this workshop we'll get into in depth what each qigong, what each dantian does, and different characteristics of people that have imbalances. Like if one dantian is strong and the other one is weak, then how's that person? How does that affect that person? And so we'll get into some of that, and um, we'll just get into it a little deeper than we would on Thursday nights.
Yeah. And kind of deeper, like you said, to have because the best thing is to have all three dantians in perfect balance.
Yeah, and then have that central meridian, because you can have all three dantians open and revitalized and all working great, but if they're not, it's like what's the analogy? Oh, if you have a bunch of people living on a street and they're all excellent people, but they have like fenced in yards and they never interact, it's not really a neighborhood. It's just a bunch of good people on a street where they're not, if they're working together and they're all in harmony with each other, then that's optimum. And that's what the central channel does, because that central channel goes all the way up into the universe and all the way down into the earth. So it's anchoring those three dantians, it's harmonizing them with the universe and with the earth.
Wow, I love that. I love that visualization that you said that, because you're right, work together, but that's true of the neighborhoods too, a bunch of good people that aren't connected. And that's kind of what we need to be doing, I think, in the world right now,
Mhm. Mhm.
connecting with each other and working together, right?
So get out in the street and do some qigong. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So now, all right. So you mentioned too that before the Thursday night, you'll be at fellowships all day offering sessions.
Yes, yes. People can call and make an appointment. They can call me, or I don't know, can they call fellowships?
Um,
It'd be better if they call me, probably.
yeah, actually, why don't I put you up here, Don? What's the number?
716 622 6332.
Okay. And that's okay. So is that an energy healing session, or it's a qigong session, or
Qigong healing session, yes.
okay? Yeah, a second, add banner. Let me put you up there. Okay, there it is there. Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's awesome. So they get, you said energy healing and qigong, and I know when you do energy healing, you just kind of do whatever is called you're called to do.
Yeah, there's probably gonna be some toning. There's anybody that's taking Reiki knows that if I put my hands on you, there's gonna be Reiki flowing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the spiritual stuff, and yeah, so it's a whole lot of, in fact, when I first got out of school, I didn't know what to call it, so I just call it a session.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, because you mix it all. Talk about a little bit about toning.
Toning, everything's made up of vibration. Everything has its own vibration, and so um, way back, I went to a healer who did toning, and actually she toned on a person while I was holding their feet, and I felt that vibration go all the way through me, and I went, whoa. And actually she says, well, you can do that and you would be good doing that. And I'm just going, yeah, right. And so then I did start getting impressions that I should be doing that.
Mhm.
And I never wanted to do it because I hadn't told the person on the table that I was going to do it, and I didn't want them freaking out. And so then finally one day I did it really low, and and the person just said, "Were you humming while you were working on me?" But so yeah, it's a tone that I make with my voice, and I don't have any idea what it's going to sound like till it comes out. And I've had clients say, "Where's that flute?" I go, "What flute?" Is that no that instrument you were playing? Is no, no, no. That was my voice. And
I
so
think I
yeah,
think I asked you that actually.
yeah, okay. So yeah, it's I usually start with doing it right over the abdomen, and it's another case where it just kind of makes the energy go boo,
Yeah.
and so yeah,
And
it's
you can feel it, like when you do that. Like I remember you doing that with me. It's like I could feel it all through my body, that
yeah.
energy. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. So that's exciting. I'm glad you're doing that. So everybody up on screen is Don's number. So you can call, they can call you for a session anytime, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm in Middleport, New York. I have a farm in Middleport where I do it, and so I'm by appointment only, so I don't have regular hours. Um, and if I had a group of people, I'd find a place in Lilydale to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do it by appointment.
Yeah. And if if you're going to be down in the Dale, he's going to be there 4 or 5 days where you can book a session there. You can come to Qigong on Thursday nights, which I recommend. I know I'm going to be there. And a workshop on July 15th. And I'm going to put Fellowship's website up again too, because you can find all that on there. So do you want to throw the graphic up again, Karen? Thank you, Karen, for doing stuff. There it is. Okay. I actually, I love that picture of the lake because I actually took that picture. It's a good picture.
It is a good picture.
It is. It is.
The dock looks nice and level. Yeah.
I know it does. So that's, if you come to Qigong, and we talked about I'm going to bring up Nancy's in a second too. On Tuesday nights, or Don, we have there's Wednesday as a development circle with Michelle Paternity. Gail Heil is doing a sound bowl class. There's Don's class on July 15th. Yeah. And for a lot of these classes too, if the weather is good, Fellowships has a huge deck right outside, and you're probably going to teach Qigong right on the deck, right?
Weather permitting. Yeah.
Yeah, which would be awesome. I'm going to bring Nancy up too. I'm going to bring Nancy back. Okay. So yeah. Oh, and here's you can put hers up, Karen. Okay. So Tuesday evenings, gentle yoga and meditation, 5:30 to 6:15. And that's every week, right, Nancy?
Yes.
Yeah. Don's alternates with whatever weeks Don isn't doing Qigong. There's going to be sound bowl healing with Gail Heil. I love sound bowl healing too. So, and all of these classes just kind of go together, and they're all classes that are good for you, to make you feel good, make you feel balanced and centered, which is what we want, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, everybody, I want to thank you, Don, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we planned it last minute. I'm glad it worked out. And Nancy, thank you so much too.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, and I look forward to seeing everybody this summer in Lilydale. Opening day is June 23rd, I think, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so come on down to Lilydale, come to the classes in Lilydale, come to the classes at Fellowships, and we're going to have a great summer. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining us.